Hello there. So last night I finished the last page in my current sketchbook. So what I thought I would do in this video is just take you inside and show you every page and share a little bit about my process and approach. Here we are inside my sketchbook, which I started on the 21st of July this year, and we're now just coming up to the end of November when I'm filming this, and I finished it, completed it, filled it up yesterday. So I'm just going to show you each page. So this is the first double page spread, but I didn't start here in my sketchbook. I tend to leave the first page free. There's something about a brand new sketchbook which I still find a little bit daunting. So I circle back to the first double page spread. And here I've just stuck a whole load of random things in. What's underneath? There's something odd underneath it, which I obviously wasn't that happy with, so I've just sort of piled things in. What I often do with my sketchbook is I consider it a filing cabinet, a gathering place. So I can see here there are things that I wanted to keep. They were kind of random experiments that were on my desk. And there are things that I want to remember. So I just sort of whack them in. So this is a drawing on tracing paper, and I know that at some point I want to explore drawing on different layers of tracing paper. So I guess this is just a little memory jog. It means that I don't forget that. And then this piece here was just a little quick demonstration piece I did for a video. And what I think I wanted to remember here was the combination of felt tip pen, pencil and watercolour. So I just stick some of these random things in as a way to capture them, as a way that they don't get lost in the ether. And then this page is watercolour. It's got some lovely gold iridescent watercolour paint. I don't know if you can see that. I was lucky enough to work with an artisan watercolour company called Little Rainbow Moon, and they asked me to pick 4 watercolour colours, and I got sent the box of them, and this was the first thing I did when I kind of cracked open the paint and had a little play and looked at how the kind of colour combinations could go. So it was just a sort of quick imaginary piece, but I quite like the kind of composition, so it might be something that I revisit. And here there's felt tip pen and watercolour and pen. So I like to use my sketchbook as a way of experimenting with colours, experimenting with materials, mixing things up, trying things out, seeing what I like, seeing what I don't like, and just really having a kind of experimental spirit when it comes to my sketchbook and not worrying too much about how things turn out, really. It's more what I discover along the way. So this page here, I think that's, yeah, it's bits of post-it note that I've kind of just stuck on. I was just obviously playing around with the colours and the combinations. So this is paint and pen, and I've just kind of mixed everything up here. And then and then the paint stops. So we had a burst water pipe when we weren't in the house, and it was running for hours and hours and hours, and it damaged our house. So we had to move into a hotel and an Airbnb, and we've been in a Airbnb for the last 4-5 months. So this is the page where I go from watercolour, acrylic paint, etc. to a black pen. So not necessarily because I was depressed or miserable, but more because that's all I had with me in my suitcase. And the rest of this sketchbook is really defined by the fact that I wasn't at home and I was living out of a suitcase, am living out of a suitcase. So I have very limited materials. So for the first few, maybe weeks, month, I can't remember, all I had with me was my sketchbook and a small pencil case with like a couple of black pens and a white pen in it. So I didn't have many art materials with me, so that dictated what I was able to do in my sketchbook. And I think that's two kind of things that I want to say about that, is that it's been a wonderful thing to have a sketchbook because it's so portable. So I haven't been able to access my studio, I haven't been able to do the things that I'd normally do, but I've been able to take my sketchbook with me. So that has been really wonderful. And the second thing is that, you know, a sketchbook is like a chapter or a season of my life and what's going on. So it reflects what I'm interested in artistically, but it also reflects what's going on, you know, in my life. And so I find it quite amusing, or maybe ironic, that I just have all of these fabulous drip patterns after our house flooded. They just sort of emerged into my work. So you can see I've just got page after page of drawing, and what I'm doing here, I think, is just a big old distraction. So I'm getting really involved and enjoying playing with mark making, playing with kind of creating these imaginary compositions. They're not really based on anything, but it's a kind of meditation, a distraction, just seeing what I can do with black and white and what I had with me. And I think sometimes those constraints and boundaries are the mother of invention, aren't they? So you just have to do what you can do. And so this is where you can see there's just quite a lot of black and white images. I think I stuck in an envelope there. I was obviously like wanting a variety of material. I was feeling limited, but I really enjoyed all these black and white, creating all these black and white images. And then a box of beautiful felt tip pens came into my life. I was obviously missing colour. And so there's a kind of collection of slightly unusual vases. And what I've done here, you can see the tiny little bits of colour. I think when I was visiting home, I picked up some random painted experiments that were on my desk and kind of ran away with them. So I could use them, so I could add a bit of colour in. So here I'm mixing bits of collage, felt tip pen, and what was in my pencil case. Again, quite a limited series of materials. And you'll see there's a kind of repetition on a theme. I often will revisit things again and again. And one of the wonderful things to me about a sketchbook is there's a kind of narrative that runs through it. You can kind of see how my thought processes are and how my ideas kind of translate and develop. There's often echoes of something further on in my sketchbook that started at the beginning. And then here I had a lovely walk in a nature reserve, and I took lots of photographs, and there's a blog post about it, and you can kind of see all these sorts of organic planty shapes came from that walk. I was really enjoying the coastal plants, and they sort of emerged in my sketchbook here and here. And actually this page here, I've done a repeat of it later on in the book. So I'm often kind of re-looking at things. And these teasels, yes, I spotted on my coastal walk, which I really enjoyed, and so they kind of make an appearance here and later on. And this sort of vase and plant and this kind of shape here was actually inspired by the salt marshes on my walk. So I could kind of see these lovely curvy shapes, and they'd be like rocks with these beautiful kind of triangular shapes, which interested me. And I find that the things that I'm kind of seeing when I'm out and about, often if I'm taking note of what I enjoy when I'm out in the world, it kind of seeps into my sketchbook. You can see I was like enjoying the colouring in. And this sketchbook has got a lot of colouring in because I was so limited with my materials. And it's kind of got a different personality to some of my other sketchbooks. It's not, you know, here's one of my sketchbooks from, you know, earlier this year, and you can just see it's full of stuff I've stuck in and bits of experiments and just, you know, things that I've been doing that I'm wanting to capture. Whereas this sketchbook here is much more kind of drawings, and I guess that's about what I was able to do and what was happening in my life outside of my sketchbook. So lots of vases, kind of repeating themes and motifs, and I'm just clearly loving having some colour here. Another vase. This was black pen with white pen over the top, just kind of imaginary, making it up, sitting watching the telly. And then this starts a kind of series of trees and triangles. So you'll see each page kind of follows on from the last. There's a sort of theme. I mean, I was just really leaning into the colouring in. It's November, it's kind of dark, I'm not at home, I can't do what I'd normally do, so basically I'm colouring in, and I'm doing it unapologetically. I just really relished, enjoyed playing with colour. And I'm not creating important, significant artworks here, am I? I'm just, really enjoying myself, and that's part of what I find so valuable in a sketchbook. It's for me. It's not. It's not. I was going to say it's not for public consumption, but here I am showing you every page. But it's really, for the things that I'm interested in, the things that fascinate me, and I've really loved this kind of patchwork triangle, creating these kind of colour sway, kind of just these big kind of don't know what you call it, colour planes, and enjoying the different kind of shapes, and just keeping going with that. And it's just been really a joyful thing. So I'm all for a bit of colouring in. Look at this, they go crazy. And then these pages are, again, felt tip pen, just drawn, but you might recognise this page from a previous page, if I can find it. There we go. That was the kind of starting point for this page. And sometimes when I don't know what to draw, or I'm just thinking, what shall I do today, I will take something that I've created and recreate it. So there we go. And then this is the last page. So again, a whole load of triangles with these teasels. So there we go. That's my sketchbook every page. And I'm hoping when we can get back home, I'm going to be, go wild with paint. But I've really enjoyed the colouring in, and I think that to me is what a sketchbook's for, isn't it? It's for me. It's for exploring the things that I want to do, basically, and I've really quite enjoyed colouring in. So there we go, a whole sketchbook.